something that gives us pleasure or moves us not at all. Many of us perhaps aren't sure what it is we're supposed to be taking in or trying to understand.
911, what's your
Consider
emergency?
how something is made, as well as what it is.
I think it enhances one's enjoyment. You can put yourself a little bit into the place of the maker. Imagine how it was made. Imagine what's involved in making it.
Because it is a thing that was made, right?
Art is something someone made. It's a product of human endeavor. As such, it's from having a conversation with someone. The painter is telling you something. What's their syntax? What's their inflection?
To you, I'm probably looking like a horse on a trampoline in a desert storm, place at a time uncharted. So if I wrote a love note ascribed to how lost I am by those standards, it would sound cold-hearted. No disrespect, that is the art of perspective, like Paul paintings at an auction collective, spewing out your chasms, but I get muscle spasms every time you ask if I'm still doing music. The fuck am I supposed to say? Man, look, the shaded house from my little etch-a-sketch on top of the hill of landmines are gone astray. So I'm back to the drawing board to kind of pave the way. Nah, nobody asks if you still wrapped in a 9 to 5. Nobody asks if a lion catches his food alive. I'm just saying, my vision's avant-garde, so every time you ask as I'm fighting stillness and proof inside, I want to say please wait and enjoy the ride. But you already hopped off. What was it?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. Man, forget I asked. We don't see eye to eye. And plus my brother said, I'll be on that grand sheet. So maybe I laid the cards a little bit too high. I know the odds against me if art is still ostracized. But hey, your life is cutthroat and tightrope between a slave and bid. So I light a torch in case it's darker where I live. So if you catch a nice scope, a sniper, and a tight coat, fade into abyss, and you can see he mastered his. In your school of history, the class just misinforms the kids of what's not and what is.
what's your point?
If you could only imagine that your sloth's the only reason why you haven't taken notice, that...
You don't remember? No, I do remember you. But do I remember you? Where have you been all my life? Why aren't we making love more often in the Christian way? Huh? What's your name again? Isaac. Rashid. Rashid, why are you doing that? I said, are you afraid of the Jew? The white man? What? You got white on the sea, man. You think you must leave it? Let's keep going. It's right there. Get all your money and give it to me. How are you doing? Keep it going. Keep it with us. Rashid. What's going on? Why are you yelling at me? What they did to me, they take my money.
You okay?
Oh yeah, this was weeks ago. This was on that clips. When I'm born on total clips, they brought me back to the same hospital we both with me in this guy. And it reminded me that a counselor, if she wanted me, Flash, I knew get me up like a person.
Oh my god.
Get the other cheek.
What
Get this to make it happen. The story could get better. Into what fictitious we want to do this. What really happened to me, I mean, when I wasn't looking. I was talking about my beauty, I haven't seen in 3 years or so. Has it been 3 years?
It's been a while.
What's your beauty that I wanted to beg you to help me with?
What's that?
What is the beauty or the art that I wanted to beg you to help me with on something 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago? And then you got too busy with it.
That was Ibn Order with Horse on a Trampoline, and you're listening to Northern Remedy here on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, the show dedicated to New Haven's music, past, present, and future. With me in the studio here today is Ibn Order himself. Hey, it's nice to have you here.
Nice being here.
Get closer to the microphone so we can hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Or bring it up to you, whatever you want to do.
Nice being here.
There
Nice
you
being
are.
here.
All right. We both have colds today. Apologize.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're good. So Horse on a Trampoline is from your new album, which is entitled Fishbowl Syndrome. And let's start by just having you talk about that song a little bit. Actually, let's go backward. Who's the person at the end of the song?
Ooh, I would like to reveal this person, but I'm not sure if they want their name out there.
We don't have to say it. You know what I mean.
But what I will say is that
Yeah.
the person that is in the song was a friend of mine about 6 years ago, and he used to be a masseuse.
Mm-hmm.
And the recording that you heard was not staged. It wasn't scripted. I had gotten a habit of recording sound bites downtown every time when I got home, got out of work, and he happened to be swinging by. And when I saw him, I was like, "Whoa, he looks drastically different." Like, I don't know if it was drugs. I don't know if it was, an addiction to from to methadone or heroin, whatever the case may have been. But he did a complete 180 from what I used to know him as.
Oh wow,
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And so everything he said in that soundbite was not scripted, and I did not see that coming. He just started going on this tangent. And I thought it was fitting for the song because art tends to still be on some level misunderstood, and on some level also tends to just be seen as an end result and not as like a journey to how things have gotten there. And I feel like it's wrong to write someone off as crazy or write someone off as like this or that when there's a reason why they got there. So I felt that it was fitting to put on the song because I still feel estranged every now and then when people look at me a certain way when I'm like pursuing my art like diligently and unwavering at that. So
I mean that's very much what this whole song is about. Right, is the way that you continue to create no matter what's going on around you. So I wanted you to talk about that a little bit, and then we'll take a step back.
Sure. That isn't what exactly. What would you like?
The difficulties, I guess, of continuing to make music.
The difficulties from what I've experienced, even now, like one of the major difficulties is how much I sacrifice time with my significant other at the time of the creation of this EP, where although they respected how diligent I was in my craft and my works, being around me during those times where I was like tapping into a visceral hole in the wall to dive into that sunken place to come up with this content, it weighs heavy on someone that's the closest person to you to see you in those different mood sets and mood settings and changes. And this wasn't something that I just picked up and just decided to write as like some form of material to put out there. This was very near and dear to my heart, and trying to understand what exactly was going on in New Haven with the people around me and why there were so many addicts on downtown New Haven. Why is it that I had these experiences growing up in New Haven? Why is it that other people were having these experiences? Why does New Haven feel like a fishbowl syndrome, et cetera, et cetera? So all that to say, it's tough doing this art in the capacity that I choose to do it, because I don't do it for the sake of just putting out material. I do it because I truly care about seeing like the hues of our society. Different hues of our society. I truly care about studying humanity and understanding the conditions of such. I truly care about that to such a degree that it used to be unhealthy for me with how empathic I was in that pursuit. So it's difficult doing it for that reason, because the people around you, they just want you. And they don't want you like necessarily with the theatrics of the art that we pursue. They want you just as you, and not realizing that this art is just as much as a part of you as the parts they've experienced of you. They don't quite understand, and it's not fair to ask them to understand more than what they already have. So the difficulty is sacrificing that time with those people to pursue this art, and that goes from either your significant other, family members, friends, and sort of without realizing it, like distancing yourself from those people that love you the most. That was tough, and it's still very tough. I've been able to come out with a lot more realizations and epiphanies of what not to do anymore. But the sacrifices it took to get there was just like, oh God, it hurts so much, and it still does. So yeah, it's difficult,
I'm only laughing because you're saying all of this with a smile on your face.
Oh
so
God, no, because it's one of those. I have the biggest smile because I'm probably really sad.
Mm.
And that's most artists are like that. Most artists you see smiling, like I can guarantee it. Even so much as referring to my experience at the American Johnny Mercer Songwriter Project in Evanston, where it was like multiple artists that you shared housing with.
Yeah.
And you went to these workshops to home in on your senses and your prowess as a songwriter. It was like a retreat for musicians. Like it was like an AAA meeting for musicians expressing why they're addicted to music.
Now, when did you do that?
I did that back in June.
Nice.
Yeah, back in June.
Nice. And how'd you get hooked up with that?
A man named Benjamin Scheuer. He's an international artist. He tours the world just like performing his musicals, and he's a really great person. He's been helping me with my craft since 2017.
Cool.
I met him at the Longworth Theater from a performance I did back in 2016.
Nice.
And he's the one that put me on to the Johnny Mercer, and then I had that experience. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a much bigger step back. So you grew up in New Haven.
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Tray, aka like anywhere and everywhere that's like by the Boulevard area or New Haven in general.
Right.
We're typically referred to as a Tray. There's other parts that are referred to as something else, but
yeah,
I'm not that dedicated to figuring that stuff out. I just know I grew up in the Tray. And I grew up on George Street, close to the Boulevard.
Yeah, that's a particular neighborhood label that as a journalist I have the most trouble pinning down.
What do you mean? What do you mean pinning down? What do you mean?
That I don't know exactly where it is.
Oh, gotcha.
But there are other neighborhoods that feel very defined. Like it's
Absolutely.
like it's the street to this street.
Absolutely.
It's the street to this street, and that's the one that feels like I'm not entirely sure where it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been living here most of my life so far, and I still have that moment where I'm like, yo, where in the world is this place? Like, I don't know where this place is. I don't understand.
You just know that you're from there.
Yeah. Just know that I'm from there. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I need to know, son. You know what I'm saying?
So where'd you go to school?
I went. Wait, high school or?
Let's start from the beginning. Where'd you go to school?
Ooh, from the beginning, I think I went to Hill Central. Yeah, I went to Hill Central, and then going further up is Troop. Then from Troop to I don't know, is that calling me? Oh, and then I went from Troop to where did I go from Troop? From Troop to just brain farted. I'm sorry. Conti West Hills. Then from Conti West Hills, Common Ground.
Nice.
And then Common Ground, Gateway. Back when Gateway was on Longworth.
Yeah, right.
And then I've been out of school ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, what attracted you to go to Common Ground? Because that's a particular kind of place.
I don't think anything attracted me per se. I think my mother just put me there. You know, you're a kid, so it's kind of just like, oh, this is where mommy wants me to go. Okay, I'm gonna go there.
Nice.
So I went there, and the second year, I actually wanted to go to co-op, my sophomore year, but I ended up not going. I forgot what was the reason, and I ended up staying there, and I'm glad I stayed, because if I didn't stay, the content that you hear now on my EP would not have existed at all.
Wow.
Because
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, because if I didn't stay, I would not have met the woman that literally, like, from tooth and nail, like, sharpened my writing skills creatively.
Who's this?
This woman's name is the secret love of my life. She doesn't even realize it yet. Her name is
she's about to.
Yes, her name is Joan Ferran. She is an English teacher at Common Ground. I believe she's an English creative writing teacher and our English teacher.
Nice.
At Common Ground. And she like saved my life, and she has no idea. Like, if it wasn't for her,
cool.
I wouldn't be writing anything the way would be writing right now.
So talk a little bit more about that. Like, what were you like before you? Actually, we should take another step back. When did you start writing? Whatever you want to call it, poetry.
Well, I actually started writing poetry when I was 13. I've been singing since I was 3. But I've been writing since I was 13. And then hip hop, I've been doing hip hop since I was 19.
Yeah.
So I've always had a rich family background. Rich musical background in my family.
Yeah.
But where the writing came in, like as far as on the caliber that I'm doing now, that came in through my experience at Common Ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because Miss Ferran, when she came, she didn't allow for any of her students to cut corners. And I think specifically with me, not that she had any favoritism like of me, but I think specifically with me, she saw something special in me that she didn't want to go to the wayside for the sake of me. Are we allowed to like curse or anything?
We can't curse.
Okay. Sake of me BSing.
Yes.
There we go.
There's always a way around it. I have to say, like, every time I'm on the radio, especially if I'm talking about music, that censor goes up. And it is really hard sometimes not to drop the word I want to drop.
Yeah. I had to think about it. I was just like, man, don't you know I curse like a sailor? Like, if you only knew.
I know.
But yeah, like she was hard on me. I remember I wrote a paper one time and I forgot what it was. She said something to me in the computer lab, like in front of all these like students that was like cutting that. Like I literally ran to the bathroom and just cried. Like, but I remember needing to hear. I must have needed to hear it because it changed me ever since. And just having her there to constantly critique my works, which had nothing to do with music at the time, just my English papers and creative writing papers, constantly critiquing them. She instilled within me like an impetus to want to enrich my vocabulary, wanting to expand my mind more than what it already was expanded. And ever since then, I haven't looked back, with that work ethic when it comes to having rich writing and rich content.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's super cool.
Yeah.
So what did you this makes it also sound like that part of her being a teacher is of sort of exposing you to other writers and things like that.
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was like looking through your soul just now. And I kind of blanked out for a second.
It seems like part of your like the experience of having her as a teacher is of her exposing you to other writers.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
it exposed me to other writers, but more importantly, just pulling out of me like the really in-depth writer that I always had within me that I didn't even know I had. Pulling it out. That's what she did. Yeah.
So who is this? What is that person like?
What, Miss Ferran?
No, the
in-depth writer.
Yes.
Ooh, in-depth writer is scary.
I ask partially because like your music definitely has a kind of there's a pretty dark tone to a lot of it.
Yeah.
And that seems like very intentional.
You know what? Yeah, it is, and it's scary how intentional it is. Because again, I'm a firm believer in seeing all hues of like, what goes on in our society and what goes on in our human conditioning. I'm not just someone that writes someone's off as crazy, or I'm not someone that just writes someone off in general. I like to empathically really tune into who that person is and why or what like has shaped them to be the way they are. So the reason why the content sounds dark is because back in 2017, I sort of dropped following Islam, and I did it because it got to a point in my family where I was having these experiences.
So you grew up in that faith?
Yeah, I grew up around it. I can't say I grew up devout in it, but I grew up around it. And when I was starting to realize that, like, oh, the church does a great job of dismissing mental illness and traumas through the works of promoting a faith that does not deal with those issues. So everything is dismissed as a test from God to circumvent the idea that there may be something psychologically wrong with you that you have not confronted yet. oh, that is also within me. Oh, I need to drop Islam, so I can see things for what they are for a while.
Hmm.
So when I saw things for what they are, and not what the following of such a faith in the way that I was following it, and the way that others were following it around me, it gave me a bigger perspective on why people are the way they are, rather than just seeing even what I'm going through as like, oh, this is a test from God. It's like, okay, it can be a test from God, but it if it's not, then what is it?
Hmm.
And what it was to me was, it's not a test from God. It's things that I have yet to confront within myself.
Hmm.
And that's why it feels like it's a test from God. That's why I dismiss it as such. And there's a benefit to doing that, because you're not really supposed to deeply sink into those traumas,
Hmm.
because where they stem from is far greater than anything we can imagine at times. But at the same time, I think they're worth evaluating. And that's where the dark tone of my writing comes from, is because I spent so much time evaluating that not just within myself, but within other people, that I forgot who I was. And that's why I say the in-depth person of who I am is scary, because that person is so empathic that it's very easy to slip and forget who I am outside of that. And I forgot for a while, and that's why the sacrifices that were made. And I was sad about it, and I still am sad about it. And I say this to anybody that's listening to this interview. I can guarantee you, most artists that you meet are not happy at all. Just want to throw that out there. They are not happy. I don't care how much they're smiling in your face. Oh, they're not. When I tell you the stories I've heard from being at the Johnny Mercer, it just made me feel like not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of artists are not happy because our journey of self-discovery is far more diligent than the average person's journey of self-discovery, because we're all on that same journey. But artists have a tendency to pursue that journey diligently a little bit more than, someone who may not be an artist, because not only do we have to pierce into our souls, but we also have to pierce into the soul of others to make these songs and make these experiences and share them with the world. So, yeah, artist retreats, we need them.
So talk about the title of the album, the Fishbowl Syndrome, and how it relates to New Haven.
Oh man,
so you touched on that a little bit, earlier.
So the title of the album is called The Fishbowl Syndrome. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like it's having an experience where you feel like all of what encompasses that experience is all that you will have, and nothing more. And having that feeling as someone who's very vibrant of a person as I am, feeling like I've always been in the fishbowl in New Haven. It makes me it's made me feel like I'm in a loop, like from the people I've met in the artistry circles, from the experiences I've had. Sometimes I've felt stuck, and I felt like I couldn't get out. There's a lot of times I felt like that in New Haven, especially with the pursuits that I've been engaging in. So it has a lot to do with that feeling. It also has to do with the looking through the visceral hole in the wall of our sunken place, and all of what our sunken place encompasses. For example,
now the sunken place is from Get Out.
Yes, it is, and unfortunately, when I mention sunken place, people think that I'm talking about Get Out, and actually not talking about Get Out. But what Get Out touched on,
no, like I think that like that particular metaphor from that movie has proved to have all kinds of legs.
Yeah, it does. It's got a lot of legs. Like, yeah. And that sunken place is something that we all experience. Like a sunken place, we get it, and how we get into that sunken place is very simple. It's like it's always let me get this candy bar at the vending machine, and then the candy bar doesn't come out, and then you get frustrated, so you start banging on the vending machine, and then out of nowhere you go back to a memory that you had 10 years ago of a nephew of yours or a sister of yours that's been raped, and you have no idea where the thought comes from. That's the sunken place.
Yeah.
The sunken place creeps up on you, and that's what I'm tapping into throughout this entire project, is how many sunken places I've been in, experiencing New Haven and experiencing myself and whatever I had to go through with like family issues, relationship issues, etc. Or even just issues with myself in general, just like that sunken place that you can't have like a you can't have a knowing and when it's going to come.
Yeah,
it just sneaks up on you. So that's what that's about. So even on the horse and the trampoline track, for instance, that had a lot to do with the feeling I used to get when people would ask me, "Hey, are you still doing music?" Instead of like house music coming on.
Yeah.
I used to go into this place of like so many convoluted thoughts, so much frustration getting asked the question, and I couldn't explain to you why. So I had to put in a song.
Yeah.
And so
now, apologies if when we ran into each other now and again, I asked you the same thing.
No, you don't have to apologize.
No, well, let's see. Like, I hope I asked it more along the lines of when's the next thing coming out.
Yeah,
you know, like
no,
I was
no.
assuming, I was always assuming that you were working on something.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's not anybody's fault when they ask, because people don't mean any harm.
Yes,
usually they don't mean any harm, but like when it's asked, it's like I know why it's being asked a lot of the time, and a lot of time it's being asked because art is still on some level has a weird pocket in our society, especially in a fast-paced, moving society where. Not that art isn't celebrated, because it definitely is far celebrated, way more than I've ever seen celebrated at all. Like, it's greatly celebrated, but it's still in this pocket of like, oh, what do you do? What are you being a unicorn for? Why are you still being a unicorn, walking around with a horn on your forehead? Like, don't you know there's money out here to be made? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? That's what I feel like when I'm getting asked, are you still doing music? I feel like somebody's asking me, oh, you're still having dreams about a unicorn farting in Gandhi's mouth? Like, you're still doing that? Like, that's still a thing with you? Oh, you need to get checked, bruh. You know, you need to get that together and grow up and be a real man. And it's like, that's the feeling and the sense I get from the question. So that's why I may not show it to you, but I really don't like the question at all.
Yeah,
I hate it.
No, it's fair.
Yeah. So
that's totally fair.
So. Yeah,
because you make it. I mean, this is worth pointing out too. That like the in addition to writing the material, like, you produce everything.
Yes. Yep. Yes, I do.
Let's get nerdy about this for a bit. Like, so what are you using to make the music that you're recording?
To make the beats, I use Logic. And as far as recording goes, I recorded it at Grand Street Studios, which is like in Brooklyn. It's a very professional studio, awesome studio, and a mad scientist engineer there named Jake Loomis. I recommend to anybody.
And how'd you get hooked up with him?
Again, Benjamin.
Nice.
Yeah, he's definitely the plug. Like, he's definitely helped me with so much. God, he helped me with a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about him more in a minute.
Most definitely.
So
I don't know. And I'm treading lightly because I don't know how much he wants to be talked about. But I'll play it by ear.
Yeah. But let's get back to, so all of the music is made in Logic, like using its like various like
drum
sort of
kits,
emulators and sequencers and all of that sort of stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
But then there's all of these clips of people talking.
Yes.
So talk about that. Like you had mentioned that earlier, that you got in the habit of recording things. So I know for Pandemonium, the track Pandemonium on the EP, I downloaded that soundbite from YouTube from when there was like a riot of sorts in downtown New Haven, thinking back in June, this past summer, or I think last summer, I don't remember. Yeah. And there was like nationalists down there, and there was like a fight that kind of broke out, like people punching each other, blah 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 blah. Right. Trump protests and all that good stuff, because everybody hates Trump and everybody wants to, get on Trump's back and just well on him. And so that soundbite I got from there, and I did that to showcase like the tone of Pandemonium and how I've always felt watching New Haven from an objective point of view. And seeing like the social disparity, and seeing
like classism and seeing all the different shades of what a so-called working society is supposed to look like. I wanted to express all of what I've seen from my point of view. So that I use that soundbite to sort of add to that aesthetic, if you will. And then some of the other sound bites you hear is just me and thoughts that I've had to myself, like just sitting down and just like chilling for the most part and just ranting what's going on in my head. Trying to go back through the sound bites, all the sound bites I've heard. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, just different.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice. I think we should hear Pandemonium.
Sure.
That'll give us more of like a substance to talk about. So here it is. It's Pandemonium from Fishbowl Syndrome.
I was starting to think that in order to become a citizen, one must have his head severed, become a body of the state. But as the head leaves the body, what goes with it? Sometimes I wonder. The day starts off with the city bus stuck in traffic. Yeah? But my eyes on the clock as a schizo hops on causing havoc, along with the rest of the drugs and addicts. I'm desensitized, so I blast my headphones until I map it for my zone, that is. And as I black out, Batman scoops my attention as rap would have it, like I just caught a vibe to tune out the lost and savage, cooped upon the darkest habits like gentrification and target practice from the heart to yell that causes more meltdowns, sweet to tooth like blood molasses. Now I never seen God, but I know God, and he's dead here. Wanna sniff his ashes? Wait, he probably in a tomb somewhere. You know how them yellies do. Dismantle cases, intel is traceless, facelift, but anywho, I arrive on the green to a scene of protesters rioting, right? Trump supporters, news reporters get involved in the spite the grim, yeah. But who let the virus in? Pandemonium. And if it don't feel right, then it don't feel right. 9 times out of 10, shit, it's pandemonium. That's what I thought to myself as I walked to a concrete jungle, aloof to the facts. But who let the that it deserves my attention? But I done seen the same on park benches with alcohol and no retention of mental health for years. So I gotta stay focused on a dream. I'm heading back to the rat cave with my intellects like all I see is traps on the screen. Nothing else, can't afford it. No, and I won't stop and frisk a white man for his stains on the mural. And I don't get mad at tourists or any lumen sky Protestant with accolades at the bureau. No, it's more to it than that. Below the surface is a plot to kill anything that's real from anything that still come with attacks. The way it goes, and I ain't like that. And yet, see my angst is disinformation, spewing out the pores of the fat lady singing till her lungs collapse without a piece of citation. I'm left to decipher blinks. Got one shot to blast the times, but I don't really have the time to think. And my ship's still sinking. What if I chose to walk the plank? Pandemonium. And if it don't feel right, then it don't feel right. 9 times out of 10, it is pandemonium. As I walk through a piss-infested alleyway, I stop.
These people carrying red flags, that's what that is.
Does that mean everybody's carrying a red flag? Where's the rest of your people? Do you have any other messages for New Haven?
I don't talk to media.
Why not? It's a chance to speak in your own words. Oh man, that wasn't right. Come on. Oh, man.
That was Pandemonium from Fish Tank Syndrome by Ibn Order.
You said Fish Tank Syndrome.
Oh my God, Fishbowl Syndrome. I am so sorry. I'm thinking of, you know what I was thinking of is the Fish Tank Ensemble.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's the worst.
No, keep it. That's gonna be a crack, man.
It's gonna happen now.
Don't listen to that Fishbowl Syndrome, fish tank, whatever you call it. You know what I'm saying? Forget Fish Tank Syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I just imagine somebody saying that. Somebody that's hating saying that movie.
No,
I
that's
love it.
fair.
No, I love it.
It's fair.
That was good.
Awesome. So you're listening to Northern Remedy, the show dedicated to New Haven's music, past, present, and future. I'm your host, Brian Slattery, and with me in the studio is Ibn Order, who's celebrating the release of Fishbowl Syndrome. And we just heard Pandemonium, which is a really interesting piece of audio all around.
Thanks.
So it's, we spent a little bit of time talking about how, there's a lot of like real introspection going on this EP. But there's also, as we've sort of talked about already, but I want you to talk about it more, a sense of you looking out around you about New Haven. And like that was a pretty heavy moment for the town. There was, and there have been more like it.
Yeah.
The sense of like New Haven's a very outspoken and politically active place. And there are ways that I feel like people are often very proud of it, and justifiably so. I mean, it's an active, engaged population. But you seem to be also saying something a little bit deeper about that that I'd like you to talk about.
Sure. Where do I start? So typically what tends to happen, and I think we all have the capacity for this, is that we take in everything. Everything we see, smell, touch, feel, we take in everything. We don't even realize how much we're taking in. So typically how I write my songs, the only reason why I referring back to earlier, why I focus on enriching my vocabulary and focusing on just enriching the content in general, is so that when those thoughts culminate to such a place where they have to come out, I'm able to articulate those thoughts. But I don't actually purposely write those thoughts. I don't purposely have the intention of writing the story that I write. It's just that I've taken so much in from being in New Haven that it comes out that way. So what you heard is just all that's always been there. And it took for me to study, like for vocab, and study certain sentence structures and so on and so forth, for it to be articulated the way it has been. So I just want to start by saying that that's where that comes from. As far as like what I'm talking about, it really just boils down to me being a Bluetooth for information. Most of the time when I'm writing, I honestly don't know. I have no idea where I'm going.
Yeah.
I have no idea until it reveals itself and I look at it and go, oh, that's what I was saying. Oh, okay, cool. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying as I was asked the question, but really essentially what I was talking about on a deeper level is there's just a lot going on, and it just depends on what side of the spectrum it's being told through. For someone, let's say, who's not from the city and comes into the city, and I've experienced this. I've worked at a job. I'm not gonna say the place. I've experienced this where people have no idea what goes on in New Haven, specifically the outskirts of New Haven, because Yale is such a staple of New Haven that I feel like if Yell didn't exist and all this stuff was still going on, people would see the rawness, the true rawness, like, and I mean raw, of like what really goes on in New Haven. But because Yell has fixed up so much stuff, vicariously, by the way, not necessarily like deliberately all the time, but just vicariously, just like its presence fixing everything around it. Downtown New Haven is kind of like a fishbowl and a safe haven for people who don't want to have those raw experiences outside of the perimeter of downtown. So what I'm speaking on is stuff that I've seen taking CT Transit. What I'm speaking on is the towns and the outskirts outside of downtown New Haven, and also speaking on how all of what I've seen culminates in downtown New Haven. So I see everything downtown New Haven, especially the addiction issue, especially getting on the J bus from Waterbury. You can forget about it. The J bus is God. It's filled with addicts, like so many, and they all come to get their fix downtown. You know what I mean? And then they leave.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that this summer for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So there's some other things I like to talk about, but because of political correctness, we're gonna refuse to talk about that stuff right now. Not that this platform doesn't like welcome that, but there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff. I would say to the listener, just listen to hear whatever you want to hear, dive into whatever you want to dive into, for yourself to get the bigger picture of what I was talking about. That's what I kind of lead my works to be.
Well, I do hear, like in Pandemonium, I do hear the sense that I think a lot of people share.
Yeah.
Of, it is one thing to protest, and it's one thing to exercise your rights, and it's another thing when you feel that sense of that outrage tipping over into violence.
Yeah.
That is a whole. I think that's a line where a lot of people go from being supportive to uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
like that's what I think is really cool about that song, is the way that it's talking about a protest that, it's the vast majority of people in town seem and in the country, I would argue, like, don't think white supremacy is a good thing.
Yeah.
And by all means, protest it, and by all means let white supremacists know that most people think that their ideas are abhorrent.
Absolutely.
But then there's that sense of, but then how far do you go with that? And if it gets violent, are you now serving the point that you tried to make?
And honestly, I think a lot of people are torn on that. There's been plenty of times where I've wanted to get violent. There's a lot of people want to get violent because
you're angry.
Yeah, because after a while, there's only so much words can do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so after a while, you kind of just like, you know what, I can't, you know what I mean? You can't get the thoughts out. Thoughts are just, they just go away. But that's why, the song also speaks on, like, Pandemonium is not, it doesn't have to always be in your face. Pandemonium is constantly happening at all times. It is, even when you don't see it. So that's why, and the hook, although the hook is a little subliminal, there's like a chopped and screwed, like, slow down voice in the background going, laced up in your city selling dope. If you want yours, it's a place you can go. And if it don't feel right, then it don't feel right. 9 times out of 10, it's Pandemonium. I got the plug in my city full of dough. If you want yours, you should let her know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's because it's everywhere. It's pervasive. It's everywhere. It's everywhere and anywhere around us. It might be in this room right now. As like exaggerating as that may come off as, it might be in this room right now as we speak. For all I know, you could be having a very intimate thought right now about killing somebody, and I would not know it because you're just laughing. You know, it's just Brian. You know, with the headphones. You know what I mean? But that's what it is.
Having psychotic thoughts behind the microphone.
I mean? we all have to bear that naked truth of ourselves at some point in time throughout our lives, and that sometimes translates to a kind of pandemonium that we all experience. Yeah. Whether inwardly or outwardly. Mm-hmm. Whether individually or in groups. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I mean, this is what before we turn the microphones on, we were talking about that what I particularly like about the collection of songs you have out now is the way that your sort of interior life and the exterior of what's going on around you in New Haven really seem to be mirroring each other. Do you think that has always been the case for you, or is there something about right now where they seem more aligned than they might have been in the past?
Say that one more time.
I know that was a complicated question.
I'm so sorry.
So so you have like in the songs you have this sense that we're getting a glimpse of your interior monologue. You know, the things that you are wrestling with yourself, and
yes,
we're also getting your take on what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And in these songs, those two things seem to be like very much in sync with one another.
Yes, absolutely.
Has that always been the case? Like, you know, when you were younger.
Oh, yes.
Did that always feel like those two things were hand in hand?
Absolutely. 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 Yeah, and also my teacher, Miss Ferran, she knew that too as well. She would speak on things when I would go back to the school and speak to the kids. She would speak on things that I didn't even realize back at that time. That like I was always observing. Like, and that's why I wasn't really a great student, because I spent so much time observing the students around me instead of doing my work that like I had bad grades. But she understood where my mind was. She understood the potential I had. So yeah. So to answer your question, yes, that's how it's always been since childhood. You know, I'm very empathic.
Yeah. Right.
Extremely. So much so sometimes to a detriment to my health sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what has the journey been for you? Because the other part is that I've also noticed over time that your music is becoming more and more focused. Like it's better.
Yeah.
It's increasingly better at communicating what it wants to say.
Yeah.
You know, not just in the sense of, you know, conveying an emotion or conveying an experience, but sort of, you know, you're getting increasingly better at, you know, reaching the listener. Which I hope comes across as a compliment.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Like there's a way that you're just like, you know, I feel like the tool is getting sharper and sharper.
Right. I'm laughing at the thoughts in my head as you were talking, because I was like, I had to remember, I was like, oh wait, I can't curse. That's right.
I know.
Can't share those thoughts. I just had some thoughts to answer and respond to that in a good way. Yeah. That would have been entertaining, but like I forgot. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's I definitely had it's definitely been a journey, because again, it's a journey of self-discovery. It's not just like me putting out material. So back when I released my EP in 2014, called Brand New Eyes, Fat and Perspective, I was going through a multitude of different modes that I was trying to fit in, and that just came from my ability to adapt. But along the path, I started to realize those modes didn't fit me anymore, because I was changing and growing. And there was also certain modes that like poetic circles and artistic circles and hip hop circles were putting me in, that I began to not fit in anymore. And one of the changes I went through, you know, I went through this whole like God hop, you know, phase where it's just like hip hop is not hip hop, it's God hop, and therefore we're like everybody's a god, you know what I'm saying? And like and a god, being a god is about taking accountability for your actions. And just going through that and having that sort of like self-righteousness and sort of conscience where it's like I was above the vices of the people I grew up around. But you begin to quickly realize life comes in and it's just like, oh, so you thought, here we go. And life just like threw me a curveball through so many different angles that it made me realize I'm just as human as anyone else.
Mm.
So you start to hear that more through my works now, because I spent more time being human over the past 3 years, 4 years. And that's what ultimately caused the change in my work, is when I just got to a place where I was more understanding, you know, and it wasn't easy. You know, it took a lot of time to get to that place of understanding. It took a lot, you know.
Now, how much of that process was external and how much was internal?
I think it's all the same. I'll be honest with you. I think it's all the same. I think they both happen simultaneously. I think the external and internal are like working to work together simultaneously in tandem with one another. And I think what makes that experience harder is when we start to feel like they should be separate, like, and get lost in that. That's what makes the experience more difficult. But they're the same. They have to work together. It's imperative that they do. You know, because there's no sense in doing all that internal work and you're in a desert somewhere, you know, just chilling by yourself. What did you do the work for? To just like watch the sand get in your eyes, like, for the rest of your life? Like, no, you do it so that you can function a certain way that's beneficial to not only you but to the people around you. When you go back into these circles and environments with a brand new scope and a brand new mindset on how to view things, so that you can maneuver this thing we call life. You know, so yeah, they should work in tandem. There's a time and place for when you do take that isolation, and there's a time and place where you surround yourself around people again. And there needs to be a healthy balance. Otherwise, you don't really learn anything from just staying in your own energy all the time, 24/7.
Right.
So we're not put on this earth to be alone. So why should we force ourselves to be alone?
Which one do you think we should listen to next? Diary of a Madman or Amphetamines?
Amphetamines.
All right.
Yes, let's listen to Amphetamines.
So this is Amphetamines off of Fishbowl Syndrome, a name I will never get wrong again, from Ibn Order. And the album is out now. You can find it on SoundCloud. You have a physical format of it?
Of the CD?
Yeah.
No, I do not.
Cool. So find it on SoundCloud.
Yep, you can find it on SoundCloud. Or else pay the consequences.
All right, here it comes. Amphetamines.
Got a story to tell in a padded room, waiting for my doctor to bell. I saw him anxious and discouraged as I battled the Komodo to capture a flying damsel on the back of a well. So I planted a C4 on the back of a shell for pink mist and black roses like Nagasaki bombs. I'm in Japan now with my eyes closed, back to licking nurses and the new bukkake. That was a Freudian slip, doc. My psyche's on paper planes. So the straitjacket is a sick high with a hit of psychosis in the skies of a David Blaine. I'm too sick for the pills you provide, so my diagnosis is too off track to find a train. This is what it's like to go insane. And my brain is a narcotic factory, sold to the pharmaceuticals in the back room, as it's gripping on the militants of apathy. Hoping to find a dose in my syringe, so how do I fend? Doc, the snake in the IV eradicates systems and IDs. Its prognosis, well, doesn't want me to ascend. So until then, I'm waiting on a mannequin to smile back. As far as I'm concerned, this place is like a hospice with a chat room for the narcissist to fight it back. Spitting that carbonated poison mixed with acid vodka, burning off my lips after I sip. I'm pissing out sriracha. I've been patient in asylum, doc, but no one sponsors the kids. Sadistic and altruistic without the proper skill set to protect my health. So for boundary's sake, I'd say please don't intervene. And for the pain of living as a sound citizen, your amphetamines, doc. Nowhere to go, nowhere to return, nowhere to. Strange. Concert, and this is not an album. This is commentary on our shared world. For what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. My name is Ibn Order, and this is my story.
That was Amphetamines from Ibn Order's new EP, Fishbowl Syndrome, and you're listening to Northern Remedy here on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting from New Haven, Connecticut. I'm in the studio right now with Ibn Order. Thanks for being here. This is really fun to talk to you about.
Thank you for having me. This is refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. I have two questions about this. They're like they're two big questions that hopefully will be interesting. So the first one is more of like a technical thing. You have a cool penchant for sort of doing like intros and outros to the songs. Like it doesn't just like start with you rapping. There's always like this sound collage, and then you talk, and then there's another bit of instrumental. So tell me about that. Like,
it's definitely in the early stages of that. I can definitely say what inspired that back in like 2013 was when I was listening to Jay Electronica.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with Jay Electronica.
A little bit.
A lot of his tracks start off with sound bites or lectures.
Yeah.
And then he starts rapping, and then the lecture goes back on. And I found it very intriguing because I feel like sometimes we don't have the words to describe what it is we're talking about or about to go into in the song.
Yeah. It's
nice to have a helping hand to set the tone, like for that track. So that's kind of how that came about. If that's what you're referring to,
Yeah.
But
But then in amphetamines, it's all instrumental and what sounded like a lion.
Yes.
Or
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was able to be distinguishable as a lion, because I was kind of afraid of, like, can people tell it's a lion? I hope it's a lion.
I was thinking either lion or tiger.
Yeah, it's a lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, amphetamines. I mean, the reason why it sounds how it sounds is because that's how my head sounds at that time. That's how my head was sounding, like very like all over the place. and what that comes from is just pent up like emotions. Like, and I think we all have those emotions.
Yeah.
Pent up to some capacity. And at that point, when I wrote that song, I had a ton of emotions pent up. So many. You know, you get told so often to like man up so much that you get to a place where like you start to think what that means is don't express emotion. And it's dangerous to come to that place. So I got into the habit of not expressing my emotions. So much so that actually during the parting of my significant other about 3 months back, when I tell you, like, I remember saying, all I remember is being on the phone with this woman. First of all, this woman is amazing. The woman is incredible, and I love her so much. And I want to say that because, you know, this is a video that she might see. So before I even say, I'm going to say she really doesn't have anything to do with how that breakdown came about. But so much so, what happened was when I was on the phone, I remember saying something to her that was such a breakthrough for me that I didn't even realize it was a breakthrough. And when I finished saying it, when I was finished saying it, I was just like, oh, wow, that felt really refreshing to say that. Wow. And it's a maniacal laugh of uncontrollable release of pent up emotion from years of trauma.
Wow. Whoa.
And it happened in such a split second that I had no idea what was going on. And all I remember was laughing like that and crying uncontrollably in the midst of the laughter. And that scared me. And I was in such an unstable mental place, more than I've ever been my entire life. And I have reason to believe what it came from was years of what we expressed earlier on how the external and internal are simultaneously happening at the same time. You're taking that in. I feel like that breakdown came from years of taking in whatever I took in externally and whatever I didn't deal with internally, all culminated in that moment. So what I recommend to anybody, although Amphetamines is a very theatrical song, it's me expressing what those emotions have felt like and what my visceral sunken place looks like and sounds like. And what I say to anyone is, especially men, and especially black men, cry. Please, do it for me. Do it for everybody. Cry. Bro, cry. If you don't want to cry, at least talk to somebody. Even if the thoughts don't make sense, cry, bro. Trust me, it'll save you. It'll save you from having a tremendous breakdown years later. So I know I needed to have that breakdown. So all that to say, Amphetamines encompasses all those feelings on a day-to-day basis that are pent up, not just from my personal experience, just from being a citizen, just from constantly being like Harrison Bergeron kind of fixed into a society, you know, or like Clockwork Orange fixed into a society that is working primarily for itself, and you're told constantly that it works for you when you feel it doesn't. Like, just from dealing with those emotions of being a citizen and all of what encompasses being a citizen, where it's like, I don't like the fact that this freedom was given to me. I want to find my own freedom. And I feel like when freedom's given to you, you're at a compromise beyond your comprehension. You're at a compromise of sorts of yourself, because you never found that freedom for yourself. So that's what amphetamines is about. So that's why I end the verse with bleep your
Yeah.
amphetamines.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because it's like it doesn't work for me.
Hmm.
All these things that are supposed to work, like it just doesn't work.
And by things you mean things like therapy and medications and all that sort of thing.
Like the medication, the like, oh, take this will help stabilize your mood. It's like I'm not a robot, like I'm a human being.
Hmm.
You know, I don't want to walk around lethargic from the symptoms of the medication that I'm taking. You know, because I used to take Zoloft and other medications when I was younger at 13, and I remember the side effects of what it had on me. It's not to say that it won't have the same side effects, but I don't want to chance that and compromising myself from a temporary get well like pill. I don't want that, and I think it's defeating sometimes to take that stuff because it's just like, damn, you know.
People's experiences of those things vary so much.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that's like I feel like I hear for every person who says like, you know, this is the reason that I function.
Yeah.
There are people who say this is the reason that I'm having a lot of trouble now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Like that's a real thing, and it's not about like judging either side of that for whatever their experience was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Most definitely.
So how much of the song, I mean, not that we need to like decode the song, but like how much of it is sort of like factual autobiographical and how much of it is metaphorical?
It's a great question. I'm going through like the lyrics in my head. Just give me a second. It's all autobiographical, but how I'm expressing it is how it feels. Like, so it's all autobiographical. Like all of it.
Like there's a doctor that you might have talked to that way.
No. So it's all autobiographical, but it's told through metaphor.
Yeah.
So it's not that I've necessarily spoken to a doctor.
Right.
But whatever is that rationale within myself that can prescribe, okay?
Yeah.
That can take care of my being,
right,
is the doctor that I argue with every single day in my head.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? So I've got a story to tell in a padded room, waiting for my doctor to bell. My doctor is my rationale, and I'm waiting. And I've been trying. Like society's been trying him so much. So I've got a story to tell in a padded room, waiting for my doctor to bell. I saw him anxious and discouraged as I battled the Komodo to capture a flying damsel on the back of a well. Meaning, I saw the rationale within myself depleting.
Yeah.
And I saw it tried. And I'm just waiting for him to bell already. Waiting for him to cut loose and just say, you know what? Don't care anymore. But because of my stubbornness, I don't give up on anything or anyone, and especially myself. So, yeah.
I want to ask another technical question.
Sure.
So let's talk about those super cool strings that are in the beginning and the end too. What are those from?
Strings?
Like the sounds.
Oh, they are. It's a kit I found, I think, on freedrumkits.com. It's a kit that it's like theatrical sound effects.
Oh yeah, cool.
So like the sound effects you hear in movies when like,
right,
you know, something crazy is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, these sounds encompass like how insanity sounds in someone's head or emotions. Let me put these on a track. That's perfect.
Right.
So typically every track I make, just in general, just as a rule of thumb, just to put it out there, is like I try to find all the sounds that encompass the emotions I want to convey, like as much as possible.
Right.
So that way people can, when they're listening to it, they're hearing what my mind sounds like, or what raw emotion can feel and or sound like.
So you spend a lot of time like just hunting down sounds on like various sound banks on the internet.
Absolutely, yeah.
As I do for this radio station too. Like there's so much out there.
Yeah.
For starters.
Yeah.
You know, it's all stuff that you are allowed to use and all that good stuff, which makes it I don't know. It's a good it's a good time to be alive if you're a sound collage kind of person.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there.
Exactly.
You always picture this army of people all across the world wandering around with little microphones, recording all of this stuff and then just posting it. And from like street noise to to like pieces of an orchestra to whatever. It seems like you can find just about everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the other thing is like this is like another strictly musical question, but like there is something very cool about the way that a well-constructed beat can move along even things that are just a sound collage. Like that it puts a pulse underneath it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you tell me about that? Like why put the beat under it or why let it sort of roam free?
The sounds?
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that songs I don't believe songs should be structured all the time. Like I started to notice also too without sounding a certain way, what makes my sound quote unquote different sometimes from maybe some of this music that you've heard. Not you've heard, but people have heard, is that I don't approach tracks all the time with the idea of it being structured like, okay, introduction, verse, hook, verse 2,
right,
hook. I don't do that because I don't think life works that way. And I think if we're performing our art in a way where it's replicating or if it's conveying what we're going through in life, life doesn't always tend to be structured all the time. Life tends to be very sporadic, very all over the place, and just unpredictable. And that's why I let the sound sit on the tracks the way I let them the way they do, and why I produce the tracks the way they do, because I believe life a lot of the time, although it can be simple, it's also very theatrical. So even referring to there's a track on the EP called Maya, which we can explain sometime later or whenever, where on the last verses, what's strange to the naked eye is clothing, and most the eye ain't got no style. So if life is stranger than fiction, in what fashion do you live to bulletproof what you have on file, right? That goes into just life, like, humbles all of us. And it doesn't matter what you deem as structure. Structure can be broken at any point in time without the moments you least expect it. Take it from me, it happened to me. Okay. And when it broke down, it was like, oh snap, oh my god, like, whoa. My heart chakra has been open ever since. I've been more empathic to anyone and everyone's circumstances ever since. Been humbled a lot, painfully humbled. And I asked for it, by the way. I asked for it prior to the sequence of events. I asked to be humbled, because I was developing, without realizing it, with how diligent I was in my pursuits, I was developing a God complex. Didn't even realize it until someone told me. It's like, yo, slow down. Like, oh, so yeah, all is love now. Sunshine and farts. It was great. So I hope I didn't go too much off the topic, but
no, not at all.
Yeah.
So I think the first time I saw you perform would have been, it's probably like 3 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. That would be the. I think that's the first time.
Yeah.
So tell me.
Ago,
yeah. So tell me about like how you went from making music to starting to perform.
To starting to perform. Well, I've been performing. My first time performing was when I was like 12 or 13. I was in this R&B group with my nephews called Nonfiction.
Nice.
It was adorable. Have so many. I love you, Mani, and I love you, Zai. I love you, Aisha. I love you, Namdi. Thank you for giving me those memories. I really appreciate it. You have no idea. I love y'all so much for that. But that's where we first started performing, and I could not dance to save my life. I was just so uncoordinated. But that's where I started performing, was around that time. And my sister at the time, and her husband was like acting as like our managers basically, and just taking us to places to perform, like Riverside 94. I think it was some radio station. I don't remember what radio station it was. So long ago. So that's how I started performing. But then later on, as I got older, I started making beats at 15, and there was a talent show at Common Ground when I was like 17, and I believe I performed in both. I think I did. I don't remember. And then from there, you know, I was just homing my craft more.
Yeah.
Because again, I started rapping at 19, and the reason why I started rapping, which I forgot to go into, wasn't because necessarily, like my teacher was the one that taught me how to write. But why I started rapping was because I was in this group at 19 called We Are, which consisted of 2 singers, a drummer, and a rapper. One of those singers being myself. And this was before I even rapped. Rapping was not a thing I've never thought I was gonna be doing at all. Like, and it crept up on me because one of the members, the member who was a rapper, name is Millie, aka Harvey Jones, aka the Lions Den, for anybody who's looking for a personal trainer. He was rapping at the time, and he sent me a track for the group, you know, for us to work on. And I'm a singer at this point, and I was like, wanted to write whatever I wanted to sing on, and I was like, oh, singing doesn't really fit on this track. I said, you know what? I'm gonna try rapping right quick. So I wrote a rap, and he liked it. And he's like, "Ah, this is actually pretty good." And then he mentored me.
Nice.
And then from there, when I like left him as my mentor, then life sort of just mentored me.
Yeah.
From there. So
nice.
I hope I went off. Did I go off topic?
No.
Okay. I do that a lot, so try not to. I can just talk forever. If you don't give me a focal point, this is gonna be like. So you understand what I'm saying?
And then how did you meet? So when I first saw you, you were part of the thing that Puma Simone had organized.
Yes.
So how did you meet her?
I met Puma through the People's Art Collective, which used to be on the corner of Crown, but it was knocked down for like, you know, businesses and stuff, you know, the usual. And I was intrigued by her mystique. Yeah. She had like this interesting mystique about her. Like when I first met her there, I didn't even know I was going to be like friends with her like that. Yeah. Until I think we reconvened a couple times after that, just talking about like a whole bunch of stuff, like conspiracy, whatever the case may be. And she also they were a big part. Her and her friend Marisol, my friend Marisol, were also a big part of my artist development. Just being around them. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I met Puma. I met Puma at the People's Art Collective, and then when we started doing the shows, it was just from, you know, me already being in touch with her and like her saying like, yo, you should get on this set. Right. And that was very imperative to my artist development as well, because at that point my mother had a stroke in 2013, and I was kind of mentally consumed in that a bit. And that was actually before I got physical as far as taking care of her. But so when Puma hit me up to perform at the Something to Do, that was after a year of not performing. And I was already in this place of melancholy where I was just like, life is done, my life is over, whatever the case may be. And she kind of like lifted my spirits from just inviting me to that. So yeah. Nice. Kudos to the people who are constantly in your path, uplifting you in the moments where they don't even realize that you're just like, forget all of this, I'm done. They don't even realize they're helping you. But kudos to Puma for that, because I don't know where I would be.
But then you got from that to Long Wharf somehow.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Got to Long Wharf. How did I get to Long Wharf? I don't remember. I think somebody sent me the event on Facebook. And I think I just got there just from just walking, you know, just like walking that stream of life, you know, just like pursuing the craft. Yeah. Because before that was like News Channel 8 and other things. Right. So, but I think somebody invited me to that online, and then I saw that, and that's also how I met Benjamin Schroeder.
Now, what was the event in particular? Give me some more details about that.
I think was called Sing Your Story, which I think was a sub event to the main event, which was like The Lion, which is the musical that Benjamin Schroeder wrote.
Right.
and like performs.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got to that event. That's how I figured it out. And it's also how I met Benjamin Schroer. Benjamin Schroer came to me after the performance in this very Lord Voldemort kind of fashion. like
now, having talked to him, like him plus Voldemort doesn't.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
He's much nicer than that.
Oh no, he's much nicer. But the reason why the reason why I say it that way is because I remember because like the audience, the lights, the way they were beaming in, there was this dark cast like where the seats were.
Oh, gotcha.
So when he came, like, when he had these very like sleek, form-fitting like clothes on,
right?
And it's like he came from the darkness. He's just like, he's like, I really liked your work. He said it in his very smooth voice. I really like your work. Like, we should keep in touch or something like that.
Nice.
Not knowing that I was going to be building camaraderie with this person,
right,
over the years, and not even knowing that how much he was going to help me, with where I am now with the EP.
Right.
You know, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know, but it just happened that way. But no, just to be clear, he's not a Lord Voldemort.
No,
Slytherin.
Right.
He's not anything like that. It's just the way he came from out of the darkness.
I understand.
Like, yeah.
So then he, I mean, it sounds to me that it's mostly that he, like, if I had to guess, he just, you know, he likes what you're doing and he sees that he can help you.
Yeah.
You know, without, you know, he knows things that you want to know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's important to have those people around.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure,
so that you can grow.
So he got you connected with a studio, and tell me a little bit more about it that you're willing to talk about with him.
Oh, as far as you said about him or about the studio?
About him.
With what I'm willing to talk about, because I don't know how much he wants his business to be put out there. He's a very, 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 very cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, and he's, I mean, that's as far as you need to go with me. As long as you're cool, that's like the main thing. I think everything else is just like the bonus or extra.
Yeah.
But he's really cool. He's very helpful. He just likes helping people.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
And he just saw something in me, and he just took it from there. And when I had asked him, you know, to help, you know, like, he spoke to his manager, and ever since they just been helping me.
Cool.
Yeah. And it was at a time where I worked up the chutzpah to ask someone.
Yeah.
You know, because again, when you feel like you're in a fishbowl, you know, you kind of feel like there's no way out. And I was in that place at the time where I was just like, yo, I'm tired of doing all this by myself.
Yeah.
As far as like the work that I was doing by myself. Not that I got to the place by myself, but you know, the footwork, you know.
Yes.
Tired of feeling like I'm doing it and not getting anywhere. So I've never asked someone to help in the capacity that I asked him at the time. So when I did, it was because I was at my wit's end, and I felt like there was no way out. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I asked him what I asked him, and he said, yeah.
And this was how long ago now?
This was back in early 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much of Fishbowl Syndrome had been written at that point?
Have been written?
Yeah.
I've been writing Fishbowl Syndrome for 2 years. So I started in late 2016.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's not true. I started actually in the summer of 2016, or maybe even earlier before that. You get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you ask him, you're saying, I'm working on some stuff and I want help in finishing it and getting it out there.
By the time I had asked him to help me like find a studio and everything, I had already had a lot of stuff like written and finished already. So that way I had stuff to present, to record. So between 2017 and 2018, I finished recording the EP back in April, I believe. No, was it April? It was sometime before I went to the Mercer, or after, I don't remember, but which was in June. So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I blanked out again. I'm just like,
you're doing great. I know. You're really good at that babble thing, by the way. That sound that you just made. Of nonsense talk.
Oh,
that is hard to do.
Yeah. That's how I feel like I sounded.
It's one of many gifts.
So, yeah.
So, where was the? I should say, why don't I take another step back? Where how did you apply for the Johnny Mercer thing? And tell me a little bit more about what that is.
For the Johnny Mercer, I sorry, I brain farted just now. For the Johnny Mercer, I applied to it.
Like Benjamin Schrader encouraged you to apply to it, right? Like
Yeah.
he told you about it.
Yeah, he encouraged me to apply to it. I actually applied 3 times. I lost the first 2 times. And the third time, which was this year, he said, "Hey, you should apply." And at that point, you know, I was a firm believer in like, I don't like if someone doesn't see my value, I'm not going to force it on them.
Yeah.
And so that's the mentality that I had. So he said, you know, so he helped me, you know, like redirect that and get back into it.
Yeah.
Like he just like we had some talks and he convinced me to do it again. And this time I got through.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
And where does that happen?
It happens in Evanston, Illinois, which I think is like 30 minutes from Chicago. It's on Northwestern University campus.
Cool.
It was really dope. There's like housing that they provide for that week that you're there. They also provide a $200 gift card to spend for the week that you're there to buy food, clothes, whatever you want to buy.
Yeah.
In the city, go partying, whatever the case may be. The workshops are from 10 to 5 with these master teachers that have been writing for like Broadway plays, established artists like Madonna, like Elton John.
Oh, wow.
Christina Aguilera. And they've been writing for years, so they know the ins and outs of the industry as well as like just the different forms of writing and like the in-depth like skills and all, etc. So throughout the process of Johnny Mercer, you're living on campus with 13 other artists who are all there to express their addiction to music, basically. And in the midst of that, you were in this auditorium where you're sharing your works that you're writing there and works that you wrote before you got there with these master teachers. There's 4 master teachers, and we're just in this round circle, like just like sharing our works and critiquing, and the teachers are critiquing it, so you can write like better. Nice. And it all leads to a concert at the end of that week where you perform in front of like 400 people, and you perform your work. Yeah, so it's really great, really great experience.
Yeah,
I recommend it to any artist who's looking for a retreat without even realizing that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and like what were the other artists like? The other 12? Did I count that right? Yeah.
The other artists were human. There you go. There's the answer. There's a secret to life, kids.
What kind of
they
stuff?
They were human.
What kind of stuff were they working on?
I'm just being. No. All jokes aside, you just really saw how human they were. Like there were a lot of stories, you know, that I heard. I was just like, wow, like, and you're here, still doing this, even though you went through that. Okay, like I get it, and it just added this like in group and this sense of belonging for me, because I haven't felt that in a while.
Yeah,
you know, I've had those moments in New Haven with certain circles that I've been into, but in the capacity where it was there, where you're actually living with these people for a week and you're developing bonds with them, like because you're literally door to door, like we're in the same hallway.
Yeah,
like this long hallway, and it's just campus life.
Right,
and we're working together to make music. We're butting heads because the personality, like, you know what I mean? It's like family there.
Yeah.
And just meeting them, it was just dope. A lot of the artists, if I can name a few, was Chris Peters, Julian Hornick, I believe. Julian, if I said your last name wrong, I apologize. Benji, I don't remember his last name. Daphne Gamble. Sage Melcher, Adam Melcher, Kion, which is a dope artist, Regina, a few other artists there from Johnny Mercer. And I keep mentioning Johnny Mercer because if you don't know who they are, you might be able to find them through that.
Right.
Yeah, it was just.
They're all musicians of some sort or whatever?
Yeah, they're all musicians. Yeah.
Cool.
Really good.
Like across genres, it sounds like.
Yeah, across genres. Yeah, I would say so.
Nice.
Most definitely.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I was actually surprised, to be honest, I got through because I feel like I was the only hip hop artist there at first.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to, I liked the element of surprise. I didn't check out the other artists' work up until I got there.
Right.
Because I wanted to see what it was when I got there. I didn't check it out online before. So at first I was just like, do they really like? I gotta fit in. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I also went there to challenge myself to start singing again. Because I haven't sung for forever.
Right.
So I wrote a singing song there and actually performed a singing song there instead of a rap song.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I imagine their reception to hip hop is like pretty welcoming at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Like
but
I think like that time has come and gone.
Yeah.
You know, this idea of like having to somehow prove that it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, it's definitely it's definitely more welcoming. But the reason why
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't gonna belong is because you had to see it from where I was looking, from my perspective. Like on the website and how I was looking, it looked like it was specifically only singers, and because I didn't get through the first two times,
yeah,
I thought the reason why I didn't get through was because I was a hip hop artist. You know.
But when you applied, they knew you gave them like hip hop stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So there you go.
So the third time, yeah, I know. So it was awesome. Like, so they definitely, and then when I got there, of course, too, they're definitely open minded people.
Yeah,
like very open minded. Yeah. Andrew Lippa and Craig Cornelius, I think, if I said his last name right. I love y'all so much. You have no idea. I love y'all so much. I love all the master teachers there. I love all of y'all, but I kind of favor those two.
Nice.
I love them so much. They're great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So here comes like the inevitable, annoying, open-ended question at the end of a lot of interviews, which is like, what is next? Like, what are you planning for the next? Like you know, because you finished an album. The album's like out for people to hear. Are you working on new material?
I'm actually afraid to work on new material because the past 3 months have brought up so many emotions that are like, and I have other things to focus on as far as my finances, my personal life.
Sure.
That like, I know where I want to go for the next project, and I actually know the title of my next project already.
Cool.
And the theme and all of what it might encompass. But, to try to dive into those emotions right now, to write those songs, I don't know if I'm ready for them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know I need to, though. I just, yeah.
Now, do you write? I mean, so there's that group of people that say you have to write every day. You have to practice your craft every single day. And I am not sure that that's actually true.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
It's one of the, like, for every person you meet who like follows this daily regimen, you meet people who say like, well, I wrote, but I took like 6 months off and I did other stuff, and then I wrote some more material, and it's like the output seems just as good.
I think I understand where that comes from.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, me too.
I think there are different periods where you should do that. Where there should not be a day of rest and you're like homing your skills.
Yeah, right.
I spent a lot of time doing that. Between the years of 2011 and 2014. And then I spent even more time between the years 2014 and late 2016, more on the observant tip. So there's different forms of homing in on that skill, and it doesn't always necessarily have to be the technical route to like, oh, I'm going to study this and study that. You could just be a quiet observer of life,
right? And
just take that, and that's a part of your practice as well. And I can definitely say that for this EP, most of what inspired it was just life. I didn't have to study or research, because I already had the vocab and the sentence structure and the articulation to, convey whatever emotion I need to convey, because they're always there.
Yeah. But
the experiences that I've had these past three years, like, was what was more than enough practice for me.
Yeah. Right.
So I believe in that whole like yo, you need to be on this 24/7. I get it, but I think if you do it all the time, it defeats the purpose of being inspired, like by mistake, like just like randomly being inspired. Like right now, this interview might inspire something.
Yeah.
Like later, this might, like me watching it might inspire something. So.
And then why New Haven specifically? You had mentioned at the very beginning that part of this was about taking in what's going on in the city around you. Like,
say that one more time. Sorry.
So why focus on New Haven instead of you could go more specific and say this is about just a couple people, and you could say this is about like the state of the country.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
but it's
because it's not
it's New Haven.
Yeah, because it's not just about New Haven. I want to reiterate, it's definitely just all of what a society encompasses and experiences and like sort of worldly, sort of not worldly, like experiences. It's about a lot of things, but just mainly the main theme is about what's your fishbowl, like what does that feel like? Basically, like seriously, because we all have it. We all think we all are under the notion that when we have a breakthrough, like we've finally gotten out of that fishbowl, not realizing that we're hopping into another one. Right? We all have that moment, and that's just the cycle of life. It's a very cyclical nature to have that moment where you have the down times and the murky waters, then the triumphant, like coming out of those murky waters, newly improved, and you feel different, but then you're fitting into another mold. And then you realize, and then without realizing you're in another fishbowl, and then you want to get out of that, and it's this constant discontent that causes us to pursue life the way that we do. So yeah, it's like, so what's your fishbowl feel like? Because we all have one, whether we want to admit it or not, or whether comfortable in it or not comfortable in it.
And you're describing that sense of like people are watching you doing whatever it is that you're doing, and you're able to see them, and there's a barrier to overcome.
Yeah.
And a wider world out there that seems very difficult to get to.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's a good metaphor. Fishbowls are good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how sometimes fish, like they die from their own fecal matter. Like it's like that.
It's like George Clinton tried to warn us.
You know what I mean? Like that's just, it encompasses everything. So whatever you would think of fishbowl is, you're probably right.
Yeah. Right.
So
right. So do you think there's any way out of that?
Huh?
Do you think there's any way out of that?
I don't know.
Or is it just about like getting used to the idea?
I don't know. I think that's what keeps me yeah, I really don't know. It's I think there's a way out. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily about finding a way out or finding your way in. I just think that just recognizing that it's there. Like there's always going to be that the next tier to like conquer or overcome. There's always going to be the next thing, the next like this, the next realization, the next so on and so forth. That's just the cyclical nature of life and how we experience life. So whether we get out of that is, I don't know. It depends on what you feel you have to get out of. That's my answer to that. I don't, everybody's fishbowl is different.
Yeah, right. Is there anything you want to say that I haven't managed to cover?
There's anything else I want to say that I haven't managed to cover? No, just I would say though, definitely before I forget, definitely follow me on Instagram.
Absolutely.
My Instagram is Ibn, IBN as in Nancy, _ORATOR. You can also follow me on Snapchat, which is Ibn Orator 22. And for business inquiries of any kind, you can just email me at the official orator gmail.com.
Nice.
So the official and then orator, ORATOR @gmail.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's been really nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too.
This has been a chance for me to ask you a bunch of questions I think I wanted to ask you for a long time.
Can I say something?
Of course.
This is so off topic.
Go for it.
If I turn my head and I just listen to you talk, you sound like the guy from Deadpool that's like his sidekick. And as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking Deadpool the entire time. I'm like,
Oh my
why does he
God.
sound so much like him?
That's weird. I haven't seen those movies either, so maybe I'll notice.
Yeah, like he sounds a lot like him. It's crazy.
I'm kind of glad I haven't seen them now. Now it makes me want to see them, and then because sometimes things that remind me of me annoy me.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I think, oh, I like that guy.
Yeah,
but now the stakes are higher when I get around to watching it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, should we go out on Maya?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
That sounds good. All right, well,
Yeah.
you've been listening to Northern Remedy on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. Thanks for listening.
You know, I remember a period in my life in which wherever I chose to go was where I was supposed to be. And where I stayed, well, was in the middle of nowhere. Now that is life as is. Light as it comes, it leaves the same.
In our solar system, each planet is locked into its orbit around the sun by its particular velocity.
The cosmos is just a flight upstairs with a concert of rock stars that hit on snares. It sounds like a bunch of noise if you ain't got theirs, so pipe down all that jazz if the kick ain't fair. If your band's not synced and your mind's not clear, the vibrations are too hard to stare. And mankind is like a man without a face, trying to find a mirror without a truth in his hands to bear. He's unclear. Nobody understands the game and how it's slick with words to its jargon and flips of verbs. It's like a free bird that lost an instinct, so it flops as it hits the curve, then flies off to hide the rules of gravity, right? Look how it soars without wings. Look how it levitates from the pits of Maya. And all the damage that it brings ain't worth a piece for me to call it sire. The black thought is like a muse to space, a composite of light and vast hues of pace. The melanated cloak of carbon is one big parliament of kinfolk and all types of fire escapes. As soul shines on the path I take, I navigate with my sonar, then plant my bait. What's in tune with the most high is like a big fish, tadpoling for the source to swim in my lake. Nobody understands the game and how it's slick with words to its jargon and flips of verbs. It's like a free bird that lost an instinct, so it flops as it hits the curve, then flies off to hide the rules of gravity, right? Look how it soars without wings. Look how it levitates from the pits of Maya. And all the damage that it brings ain't worth a piece for me to call it sire. What's strange to the naked eye is clothing, and most of y'all ain't got no style. So if life is stranger than fiction, and what fashion do you live to bulletproof what you have on file? I wait. Look how the silence takes over the crowd. What was once a mass of titans and citadels, too licensed with no avail, has finally shattered somehow. And all that's left is you, trapped by the sound of the world.
can do if you leave me here to cry. There is nothing I can do if you leave me here to cry. 'Cause my love will follow you as the years go passing by. I give you all. That's one thing you can't deny. I give you all that I own. That's one thing you can't deny. And my love will follow you as the